Hello everyone. In today's video, I'm going to solve this pattern using Python programming language. Okay. Look closely for this pattern. We see that, uh, well, let me mention it first that this pattern is for the value of n equal 5. Okay. So you can see when n equal to 5, we are getting 5 rows, or you can say 5 lines. Okay. And the columns are in the reverse order, right? Suppose we are saying it row 0, row 1, row 2, row 3, and row 4. For row 0, we are getting n times of column, which is 5 columns. Whenever row is 1, we are getting 4 columns. Okay, and we can say it like this: n minus 1 times column, because n was 5 and we have 4 columns. N minus 1 equal to 5 minus 1 equal to 4. In the similar way, here we are getting n minus 2 times columns. Here it would be, if it is 5 minus 2, I mean n minus 2, it would be n minus 3, and it would be n minus 4. 5 minus 4 equal to 1 column. Okay, like this. So we can say that the columns are decreasing, right? Because for the first row it was full n times, n equal 5 times, we got 5 columns here. Then it started decreasing from 5 to 4 to 3 to 2 to 1, like this. So we simply need to solve this problem using Python programming language, of course, but don't worry, the process is identical to any programming language you want to apply this concept, whether it can be C, C++, Java, Rust, or in any other language, it doesn't matter. So let me keep it side by side for now. Here, let me increase the font size a little bit, I suppose. Okay, this should be fine, right? So first of all, I want an integer value and I want the user to input the value. So I will be using integer input, enter the value for m, like this. Just a common courtesy, you can say that like this. And as earlier, we need a temporary variable, and I'm gonna initialize it at 0, because for the first row I can say that it's like this: n minus temp. Okay, so at the beginning the value of temp is 0, so it would be 5 minus 0 equal to 5. Let me maximize this window. You see, I'm getting this 5 minus 0 equal 5, and we are getting 5 columns. The same process can be applicable for the rest of the columns and rows as well. We need to simply change the temp, so we will get what we want, right? Let me write down the code, and let me also explain each line step by step. So the outer for loop is for the rows, you remember, right? For row in range, well, let's say I don't want the row start from 0. I want it to call it like this: start from 1, and it should run till n plus 1, like this. If this is row 1, it would be row 2, it would be row 3, it would be row 4, it would be row 5. In this way, it would also help us to remember the row number, I mean row count, because as earlier, if I count it as row 0, row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, you might get confused, because we are using 5 rows, but we are counting from row 0. You might get confused, so I don't want you to be confused right now. All right, so I'm using 1 to n plus 1, like this. And now I need to use another for loop, second for loop, or you can say inner for loop, and this time I will be using that for loop only for the column. Okay, so for column in range, now look closely what we would do here. we will start it from 1, and I will end this column till, at n plus 1 minus temp, like this, right? Look for the last value, 1 column, n plus 1, 5 plus 1 minus, let's see what we get the value after completing this entire code. Okay, so we have declared our rows, we have declared our column, and now we have to declare what we want to print here. Okay, so let me use the print function, and here what I need to print, look closely, in this pattern we are printing the value of n in the entire pattern, right? The value for n was 5, and we have printed 5 all over the pattern. So we are printing the value of n, and then I don't get to create any new line after this, so I'll be using this, and yeah, like this. This should be close enough. Okay, I have declared the initial value of temp at 0, but I need to change the value of temp, right? Because if I don't change the value of this temporary variable, the value will remain the same, and we won't get any decent output, or you can say the output we want to see here, because the value of temp variable is always the same, but we don't want that. We want the value of temp to be changed so that it would also get changed sequentially, right? So I would increment the value of temp with 1, and now I have got it printed for a whole row. So after printing a whole row, what I need to do, I need to create a new line, so that after printing a whole line, it would jump into the next line and it starts its task printing, right? So I'll be using this print function. First of all, let me run this code. Enter the value of n 5. Yeah, we are getting what we wanted. Okay, I think it would look better if we can add a space after printing each of the values here, so that I can simply use this comma. It should work if I'm not mistaken. Okay, let me run this code again. 5. Cool, we are getting the exact output we wanted. All right, now let me clarify this code once again. Let me maximize the window at first, and also let me increase the font size a little bit so that you can see it clearly. In line number 1, we asked for an integer value from the user. The user will provide us an integer value, and we will store the integer value in n variable. Then I have declared a temporary variable, and I initialized its value at 0. I mean, the value of temp would be 0 in the beginning. Okay, now for printing this type of pattern, 2D pattern, you can say that, right? 2D pattern, we need to use 2 for loops. The outer for loop, we use the outer for loop for rows, and we use the inner for loop for column. All right, the row starts from 1 and it would end at n plus 1. Fine, I think you have understood why I used n plus 1, because I have started counting the rows from 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, but you know, by default Python starts counting at number 0. So as I have as I have told it that I want it to count, I want it to start the counting from 1, not from 0. I need to increment the ending value also. So instead of using n as the ending value, I have to use n plus 1. Okay, if I use simply n, then it wouldn't count or print or initialize this till n. It would initialize this normally n minus 1 if we consider n equal to 5 in this case. Okay, let me show you how. If I simply use 1 comma n, and if I simply run this code again, and let me provide the same value again 5, 1 2 3 4, you see that it has printed only 4 rows, n minus 1 rows. So we don't want that, right? So for that reason I've used n plus 1. Okay, cool. Now in line number 4 I have used the second for loop, which is for column, and I have started the value of it from 1, and I wanted it to end n plus 1 minus temp. You can see here, right? If I use this like this, n plus 1 minus temp, what would be the value? 5 plus 1, 6 minus 0. 6 minus, let me clear it again. 5 plus 1 minus temp. The initial value of temp was 0, so it would be 6. But we have started counting from 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till 6, it would print 5 times. All right. Now it would increment again because for the second row, it would be like this. Temp would get incremented by 1. So here it would be 5 plus 1 minus 1. It would be 5. And let me do it again for here, here, and here as well. Here the value of temp would be 2. Here the value of temp would be 3, and here it would be 4. 5 plus 1, 6 minus 2 equal 4. 5 plus 1, 6 minus 3 equal 3. 5 plus 1, 6 minus 4 equal to 2. As I have declared the initial value, as I have told it to start the counting from 1, not from 0. So we are getting an extra value here, which we are considering it to print. All right, but I would recommend you to try using starting from 0. I will give the task to do for you. You need to tweak this code a little bit, I suppose, and do it like this. The column on row would start from 0 and it would run till n times, and you have to make the code in that way so that it prints like this type of pattern. Okay, the task is for yours. So thank you everyone, and if you don't know, I have another branch channel where I publish Bengali content regularly. If you are new to this channel, then consider subscribing to this channel and to that channel also. And if you want, you can follow me in GitHub, GitLab, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I'll provide all of the link in this video's description box down below. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Thank you.